Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Jen Dove and I'm going to do a little speed coloring, but I thought before I did that I would give you a couple tips and tricks for doing metal. I'm using Gage from Scrapper's Delight, and the colors I'm using today are C1, C3, C5, C7, and C9. A couple things I want to point out is pick a light source. Try to stay by it. So if my light is coming from directly above, you're going to want the highlight to be more in front. If your light is coming from the right, you're going to want your highlights to be more towards the edge of the right hand side. This is a more complicated metal image just because of all the bits and pieces, but it kind of makes it fun. Don't worry about getting it wrong because it is all about having fun. You'll want to keep your lines following the shape that you're coloring, and you'll start with your lightest color as it'll give you a better perspective, and then you'll apply the dark and work your way back to the light. So for instance, on this little piece right here, I'm starting out with my lightest, choosing my light source to be straight in front. So I'm just going to color everything in that area except for where the light is. On this piece down here, I'm going to keep it kind of following the edge, and the light might hit the toe of it, so I'm going to keep that light as well. And I'm going to go ahead and color all the rest in with my C1 so that I can visually see where that's going to be. This is also going to be dark because that's where the sun don't shine. And you're going to keep on doing that to bits and pieces of the image until you're happy with where the light source is. Remember, using the lightest color, it's easier to get rid of than if you just were to start with the darkest. So there's my light. Going with my darkest now along the edge on both sides. Just going to use very little because I know I have a total of 5 colors that I'm trying to work into this area. You don't want to end with these flicks. You can flick in, but you want to keep your lines as straight as possible. And just a tiny bit on this edge. Now, because this part isn't even being seen by the sun, but I want it to stand out, I am going to leave a little bit of a light area, and that will break up the difference between the C9 here and right here. Next, you're going to want to use the C7. C7 is pretty close to the C9, so not a lot of blending has to be done. And see how I'm just building it up? Next is C5. Again, just follow that edge. I'm not going to want to flick in because then I'm not going to get a straight line. Work it until you get it blended. Follow the contour. And I'm going to bring in my C5 down here, so it's still highlight, but it's not a white highlight. I'm going to go to my C3. Just following that edge. Working my way up towards the white highlight. And as you can see, I kind of ran out of room to put the C1 back in, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave it. And I'm just going to do the couple areas that still have some white. That's pretty much it. You would go ahead and do that on each piece of the image. There's a couple spots here that I would have done a little differently, but when you're looking at the big picture, then you don't have to worry so much about it. No one's probably going to pick out those areas, and I'm not going to point them out. So again, it's all about having fun and enjoying the coloring experience. And that's how I would approach doing a metal object, especially similar to this. Have fun.